President Trump has called it the 12-day war, but the intense hostilities between Iran and Israel have raged on for far longer than that. So let's talk about the state of the conflict and the ceasefire. Harley Lippman is back up late with me tonight here on the Final Five. Sir, thank you for taking time. Good to see you again.
My pleasure. Happy to be here.
We were very much, I think a lot of people were surprised that a ceasefire was struck this soon after the bombings on Saturday. Do you think this will hold?
It is surprising it happened so soon, a 12-day war. But I do think it will hold because I think Iran has run out of gas. They're very, very weak. Israel actually defeated them in 12 days. It's remarkable. It'll go down in history as one of the biggest victories in the annals of mankind. It's the equivalent of Cuba taking out the United States. And for Israel, they could really use a rest. They're fighting on 5 fronts. They've been fighting a war for nearly 2 years. It's mostly reservists now who are fighting. So this is going to be a breather that they're looking forward to. So I think both sides are taking some relief from this.
And when the U.S. got involved, when those bombs were dropped on Saturday, the president previously said he was going to wait about 2 weeks before deciding what course of action. Then that happened. Things wrapped up pretty quickly. How important is the relationship between President Trump and Prime Minister Netanyahu in accomplishing that goal?
Very important. I think they work together extremely well. I think the militaries and the intelligence community of both countries were very collaborative. It was actually extraordinary teamwork, and it was executed flawlessly. I mean, both nations have a lot to be proud of. It's really a remarkable military victory. And I think it's going to bring the region to a new level of historic peace. I'm more hopeful now than I've been in a very long time. And I think something bigger is going to happen, something similar to the Abraham Accords.
I think the first time you came on our radar and the first time you joined me on the show, Harley, was right after the October 7th attacks. And you know, when we look at where we were then and where we are now, would you say, judging by what we saw in Iran, that we're in a much better situation, or are we better than we were before October 7th?
Night and day, dramatically better. On October 7th, Israel was caught off guard. They weren't prepared, and Hamas accomplished a massacre, murdering, raping Israelis and people from other countries. Whoever they came upon, they committed terrible acts of savagery. And they defeated Israel in the very beginning because Israel underestimated Hamas and thought they wanted to govern. Now, nearly 2 years later, all these nations, proxies of Iran, have all been defeated. They're not completely out yet, but they've been badly, badly damaged. Hezbollah in Lebanon, the Hamas in Gaza, the Houthis have been bombed by the United States and Israel, and Iran has been defeated militarily. And Assad, the proxy of Iran in Syria, has been overthrown. So this is an extraordinary victory, not only for Israel, but for the United States and for peace in the region.
One of the things I find interesting about when we talk with you, Harley, is you have an interesting perspective because you're somebody who's been appointed to various boards and advisory panels by Democratic and Republican presidents. When you look at the situation that unfolded during the Biden administration, now we're here in the Trump administration, did that change in administration help facilitate where we are today?
Yes, very much so. The Biden administration's approach was seen in the Arab world as showing weakness. Yes, he would fire missiles and the U.S. military would get involved, but it was always with the understanding that Biden never wanted it to escalate. He always would do it in response to an action from Iran and its proxies. It was what I would call, he was trying to manage it where in terms of de-escalation, but he never went to the root of the problem, which is what Trump did. Trump has been aligned with Israel, and Israel has finally gone on the offensive, which it was desperately needed to do. It's a great lesson of life and in warfare that you can't be intimidated by your enemies. And if your enemies are going to tell you that they're going to kill you and destroy you, believe them and take the initiative and go on the offense, which is exactly what Israel did. Israel went back to its old strategy of preemptive strikes going back to 1967, where they struck 5 Arab nations before those Arab nations were going to destroy Israel. Israel is back and being proactive, and that's a dramatic change in the Middle East, and that's going to bring about an era of peace because of that.
Harley Lippman joining us here on the Final Five. Sir, thank you again. We appreciate the perspective.